Alright, you're in for a treat today because I'm gonna do some cooking. Oh yeah. You may be saying, wait, isn't this a gaming channel? What is live but a game or something? Anyway, it's my channel and I'll do whatever the hell I want. So today, for your pleasure, I am going to bake you this. Oh, look at those. It looks so good. That's so good. That picture. That's actually something I made. So there you can see that. If you're worried that that text is very small, then it will pop up on the screen in a second. Your ingredients for a ginger Oaty slice. Oh, it's delicious and also very chewy and good. You're going to get that. And of course, so I'm going to read it out to you so you know what you need. You're going to need 1 cup of the coconuts, 1 cup of the rolled oats. You're going to need butter, 200 grams. You're going to need baking powder, blah, brown sugar, flour, ginger, of course, because ginger is delicious, and golden syrup. Oh yes, golden syrup. I use this can and this brand because bulk is better. Bulk is better. You're going to need a 4 kilogram bucket of golden syrup in your life. It will change everything, I swear. So, what are we going to do first? Well, we're going to melt all some shit together. Let's get on with it. So, before we start, I should mention that you should clean your hands before we start, because that's where the flavor lives. Make sure you get in between the fingers, because you don't want that flavor to taint your delicious new baking. Trust me. Trust me. And we're going to be sticking our fingers in it, of course. So, back into the thing. Oh yes, other thing to mention. Don't subscribe to my channel if you're looking for cooking videos, because, like I said, this is a gaming channel. This is just a one-off. So, we're going to take our delicious butter and cut it into smaller pieces so that it will melt up nicely. So it will melt up beautifully. Let's stab that with the knife. Oh yeah, doing it with one hand so I can hold the camera with the other one. Oh, it's not going well. Hang on a second. Yes, so assume you watched that action. Now that we've got butter, we're going to pour sugar on top of it. Brown sugar. Oh yeah, look at that. You're like, oh baby, you read my mind. How could I not? Everyone wants to pour sugar on their butter. At this point, we could just stop, take this somewhere, and eat it. You know you want to. Don't deny it. Don't even try it. It's good. See, this is why I wash my hands. Because I told you, I'm just going to stick my fingers in everything. Stick them in everything. That container of golden syrup is empty, so we're going to crack open our big old bucket. Yeah, you can see I do love my golden syrup. Put it on pancakes, you put it on cooking, you stick your fingers in it, it's good. So we're going to need, I think it's 2 tablespoons of wondrous goldeny syrupy goodness. That's just adding a little bit of extra sugar to your sugar, because your sugar's not sugary unless it's got extra sugar on it. Solid sugar, liquid sugar, and butter. You can already tell that you're going to love this, because how could you not? How could you not love it when it's got that much sugar in it? Sweetness, that's what I'm telling you. Just drizzle it on there. Oh yeah, look at that. It's good stuff. Good stuff. Of course, this does raise us a problem. And that problem is that we've got a spoon, and it's covered in sugar now, and that sugar ain't coming off. The sugar ain't coming off. What can you do about it? You can stick it in your mouth. Oh good, oh good. I'm just eating raw sugar at this point. It's good for you. It's good for you. Good for your health. Alrighty, so we're going to take this hideous deliciousness and pop it in the thing. Looks good, doesn't it? That's sugar and butter, basically. Pop it in the microwave. Melt that action so it turns into a liquid ooze of pure goodness. There's a couple of minutes to do that. While we're busy pissing around with that, take the remaining ingredients and put them in a bowl. Mix them together. Well, that means that we're going to need flour, sugar, baking powder, and ginger, and also coconut oats. Coconut and oats, yeah. All of them crammed into a bowl. Let's do it. Alright, so, yes. For our ingredients, we've got baking powder and flour. There's also some oats in there. You want 1 cup of coconut. 1 cup of rolled oats. That is 1 cup of flour. 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. And you need exact measurements. Hence, I'm using 2 completely different sized cups for this. Because, yeah, precision measurement is what you need when you're cooking. You gotta have it. If you don't have it, then you're wasting your time. Just don't even go there. And, of course, our recipe calls for 2 teaspoons of ginger. Teaspoons. I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of ginger, because I like ginger. I like ginger so much that I put it on my toast. People think that's weird. Is that weird? I don't think so. This is 2.5. 2.5 this is what? 5 times more than you're supposed to? Whatever. So we got that. Give it a stir. Give it a stir. And stirring, rousing stuff. And from this hideous mixture, the glorious alchemy that is melted sugar will transform this into a gooey and delicious thing, which we will then eat. Or bake. Or actually both. Eat, then bake, then eat some more. Yeah! Alright, so we take glorious, properly mixed thing. Yeah, my one-handed half-assed mixing. That's not good. And then we take our pure, liquidy sugar goodness out of the microwave. Look at it. Oh, it's so good. You could just drink that or something if you wanted to get diabetes and possibly a heart attack at the same time. That's pure liquid sugar going in there. Look at it. Oh, gods. My arteries, they sing with joy just at the sight of it. Just at the sight of it. So we're going to get that. We're going to scrape that out and make it proper. And then we're going to gloriously mix it together. Glorious it shall be. Alright, so we've got our properly mixed stuff here. Look at it. Glorious. Now note the consistency. See, you want that. It's not too wet. It should feel kind of moist to the touch, but obviously we don't want that to be too wet. We don't want it to be too dry either. You would add just a little bit of water maybe if it was a bit on the dry side, obviously a bit of flour if it were on the wet side. Now this comes to the most important part. Obviously well mixed. You don't want to scrape away at the bottom of your bowl and find there's a whole bunch of flour down there. See, it's properly mixed, all mixed in. The most important part of any thing when you're baking is to taste some, because, you know, if you don't, how are you supposed to tell if it's going to taste good? If it doesn't taste good now, it's not going to taste good later. You know what I'm saying? The top, it tastes good. What about the side? Does the side taste good? Oh yeah, definitely. Is it properly mixed at the bottom? Best way to check? Taste some. Taste it. Good stuff. Good stuff. I should probably wash my hands now. Yeah, I'm going to be the one who's eating most of this anyway. So it's not like it really matters all that much. You say, my hands are clean, look at that. It's got butter on it, whatever. So now we've spread that action. Put it into the bowl, and we want to, bowl tray. This is one of those flexi trays. It just makes it easier to get it out when it's done. So we want to spread that out nicely. The idea is to get this done as quickly as you can, because if I don't do this quickly, I'll continue to eat the batter, and then there will be less for the actual cake. When it's baking, there'll be holes in it, and it doesn't look like it fills the entire tray. And you'll be right. And that's because I kept eating it. I can't help myself. It's delicious. It's going to be more delicious when we cook it. So that's looking roughly okay. I mean, we want that to be a bit more even, but for the purposes of cooking, we are going to transform this. We're going to put it on bake, and I'm going with 180 degrees. You would probably want 150 according to the recipe. I'm doing 180 for 15 minutes rather than 150 for 20 minutes. It works. I've done it before. I know what I'm doing. I cook all the time. It's all good. But no, it depends on how you like it. I like this particular recipe because it is soft and gooey and chewy, and that is how I like my stuff. I like them slightly firm on the outside, chewy goodness on the inside. The rest of my family likes theirs so hard that it intimidates people merely by being in the same room as them. They like it hard. It's terrible. And there are disagreements, but they're not baking, so they can go whatever. They can eat my soft, gooey goodness because it's bitter. It's bitter. They don't know what they're talking about. They're idiots. So we're going to take that, we're going to pop it in the oven on a tray and leave it in there for 15 minutes. Yeah. All right. So while we got that in there and it's baking up a storm, you may be thinking, well, we just stand there for 15 minutes. You'd be wrong. Now's the time to prepare icing. So what have I got? This is the jar that I was melting up my sugar in. And I've put 2 tablespoons of golden syrup in there and some butter. That is about 40 grams. The recipe itself calls for 125, but I prefer my icing to not be all that thick because Yeah, icing. Who wants super thick icing? Maybe you do, maybe I don't. So, again, I'm adjusting the recipe here. It says 3 teaspoons of ginger. Here I'm going to put in 2. I don't want the ginger flavour in the icing to be so overwhelming that it overwhelms the cake in the oven. No, we don't want that. I love ginger. Sorry, ginger. I don't love you that much. So we're going to pop that in the microwave, melt it down a bit. Melt it down. Get that action going. It's good stuff. Let's go. Start. Away you go. Your gingery goodness. Right. Last step. Icing sugar. So, why am I preparing this early? Because since I'm using melted butter and all that junk from the microwave, this is going to be like super runny when I pour it onto the cake, and that's just going to be, it'll separate a little bit. So what I want to do is mix it up and then have it set, and that way it's set, and we don't have to worry about it separating out and being kind of like oily and shit when we make it, because that's unpleasant. You don't want that. No, you want pure goodness when you're cooking. That's what we're after here. So we break up the icing sugar because it does like to clump up in there. Glorious stuff that it is. And we're just going to add a bit at a time to the butter mixture, because the recipe calls specifically for a certain amount, and that's bull. You don't do that. You do it by eye. The recipe might say, hey, you're going to want 1.5 cups. We're going to want to just pop it in there until we get the consistency that we want. Looking a bit lumpy there. That's because the icing sugar does, like I said, like to clump. We just drive those clumps up against the wall and smush them. Smush them against the wall. So that's very liquidy. We don't want that. We want solid. So for the amount of stuff that I put in there, you should be counting the number of spoons, because I'm not. You can count them. You can count them, I'm sure. You're all mathematically capable people. So we're going to mix up this. Look at that. That's about the color I want too. It's telling me that that's going to be delicious, gingery, kind of sweet, but not too overpowering. It does really add to the cake, because the cake, it's sticky, it's gooey, it's very chewy, but the flavor isn't. It's not strong. It's something like an Anzac biscuit, kind of. Except, if you don't live in Australia, then you probably, or New Zealand, you probably don't know what an Anzac biscuit is. But that would be the thing that I would compare it to. I don't know, you probably got something in other countries that you would be, that's a whatever. But, yes. So check out that consistency. I'm feeling a bit of resistance as I try to mix it in. That's what I want. I want that resistance. Just so you can get a good idea of the consistency. Let's see, look at that. It's still quite runny. That's nice. Sort of a gooey honey consistency. Nice and runny. That will set up once we stick it on the cake itself. That will become set, and then we're all set. We'll ice it in the tray, leave it to sit so that it hardens up a bit, and then out it comes. We'll cut it into pieces, and then we'll eat it. It'll be great. Alright, so we're getting to the point where it is fairly close to readiness, and the problem with this particular cake, when you make it, well, it's a slice, but we'll call it a cake, is that it's quite soft when it comes out of the oven while it's still hot. And I'm just going to prod it with a fork, because prodding everything with a fork was just a genius idea. You judging more by the colour than the consistency, because it will go quite a bit harder than it is when you take it out to cool, and that is certainly a problem. So I'm going to give that a couple more minutes as it is. But you can see the colour there. Yeah, see it? It's going golden. That's what we want. It will still be quite soft when it comes out. So yeah, that is the thing. You're not going to take it out and go, it's hard, it's firm now. You're going to want to make sure that it is of a proper. It's still soft. You want it to still be soft, unless Unless you're going for a hard slice, in which case, then bake it until it's hard and it'll be really hard. And so at last, here we go. Look at that. Look at it. So I've iced it. We've taken it out. We've cut it into pieces. You can see there. Nice thin layer of icing. I don't like it too thick because it just overwhelms the flavor. And of course I've made it so it's nice and soft the way I like it. See, look at that. It flicks. And yes, that is how you make ginger slice. Let's eat this. Yeah. So, maybe you want more, but you're not going to get it from me, because this is not a cooking channel. So, that's good. If you would like more mediocre videos, then be more than happy to look at other stuff maybe, but not cooking, maybe, unless I want to show off my culinary talents. So, yes, that's how you make this. That, yeah, it's good. Try it.